Libra 27. An aeroplane hovering overhead. So this is all about having a higher perspective. An aeroplane is up there hovering, it's just looking down on the marketplace. You get the same feeling of this when you climb a mountain. Those of us who've climbed to the top of anywhere, it doesn't have to be a mountain, it could be the Eiffel Tower, but if you're up somewhere high and you're looking down at the scurrying of ants at ground level, you'll get a different perspective on what humanity actually is and what it does. We rush around buying this, selling that, going here, achieving that, and that distracts us and that develops some of the qualities that we need, yes. And yet there's this other sense that we also need of the overview, the supervision, just looking down at the busyness that we get involved in. Sundays used to be for this. We used to have Sundays when everything was closed and we were all meant to be quiet and made to be quiet. No drinking was allowed and so on. That's what Sundays were all about in certain places. That's changed in my lifetime. And meditation retreats are now what are on offer for those of us that need this place to go to take stock, to reflect. Now, this is something that you can do every day in meditation. At the end of the day, just look back on the day and think about what has happened. Reflect upon your day. And you can do that in the morning. Just reflect upon what you intend to do with the day that's coming. So we can move into this state of altered perception easily through meditation. Now, the thing about being above it all, what are we above? Well, essentially what we're talking about is that we're above duality. We're above the distinction between good and bad, right and wrong. We're able to look down at the sense that this polarity is what causes dynamism, but it does not have an eternal merit. Duality is temporary, it's ephemeral, it changes all of the time, and push and pull are constantly interacting like billiard balls, creating effects in the world, and what the teaching of Lao Tse had strongly consider was that if we stop pushing against the flow of things, then there will be no pushback. We will not have to suffer being pushed. We just flow with things and allow the yin and the yang to have their way with the eternal cosmic sense of unfoldment as their motivating force. But we don't interfere with that. We just drift with that. And it's like surfing in a sense. The tide comes and there's a big tide coming and there's no way that you can stop it or stand against it even. So you have to climb on top of it and take it where it takes you. And it takes a lot of skill to surf the waves of change in life. And this is what we're being asked to do. We're having to learn to cope with the dynamism of life without doing too much to try and stop what is unstoppable. As we move from a normal consciousness into a more realized state of being, we learn to see both sides of things much more quickly and much more clearly. And somebody might say, oh, so-and-so has done this and so-and-so is that, and okay, well, I wonder why. I wonder why that happened. You can see that whatever you see is just what you're looking at. Then there's something behind that. And there's somebody who sees it totally different. People think they're doing the right thing. Everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. Within their frame of reference, within their sense of what is real, people try to do what is good for them. And even if you think it's bad or wrong, they don't. That's how the duality is created. We have differences of opinion with everyone. And even though it might seem that we agree with somebody, that's because we haven't actually gone far enough in challenging how they see things. It doesn't take very long before you realize that on some important point you differ from everyone. This is the nature of life. And to have this as being an idea of your spiritual nature is false. You need to rise above this idea of right and wrong and duality and have this spiritual perspective. From the highly developed realized being's spiritual perspective, it's all what it is. It is. And it's changing all the time. So even if you think you know what it is now, you don't anymore, because it changes. There's no way of saying that this is good and that's absolute, because in 100 years that will be very bad, or in a different country that will be very bad. It's time and place dependent, and age dependent as well. You know, what you think as a 20-year-old, you don't think anymore as a 60-year-old. Everything is like that. And the perspective to see this way is indicated by the image of an aeroplane hovering overhead.